gospel comes up a little later in the calendar. And so I thought, instead of talking about it twice, this weekend we would look at what is, I think, a wonderful image in the book of Isaiah today when he talks to Eliakim. And that is, I will fix him, Eliakim, like a peg in a sure spot. If you do any woodworking, or if you like to do crafting of some type, one of the tools that you use is a board with a fixed dowel or a peg. And you use that to work around and bend and shape different things. I enjoy, especially in the winter, baking, because it heats when I'm on my day off and I'm at camp. It's an old camp, and nothing heats a camp better than a stove at 375 degrees for about a half an hour. Warms the place right up, and it doesn't smell too bad either. Cookies smell a lot better than must and mice. So I go up to Fort Drum once a month, and I visit the fire department, and I bring them homemade cookies. Not Betty Crocker, 2 eggs and a stick of butter, but right from scratch, old school cookies. And I was looking for a cookie cutter. So they had chocolate chip, M&M, but once in a while I'll do the, what do you call it, the sugar cookies, right, that you stamp out and then you frost them. So I wanted to make sugar cookies and frost them to be shaped like the cross of St. Florian. You know, the typical logo for the fire department, right? Maltese cross. And I was on eBay, I went to Narragansett Bay, I went everywhere. And you cannot find a cookie cutter that's shaped like the fireman's cross. They make big copper ones for decoration. I needed a little 2-inch for eating. So I'm looking at the old cookie cutters I have, and they're only made out of tin or aluminum. Why couldn't I make my own? So a friend of mine's a fireman. I borrowed one of his winter sweaters that had a nice big 2-inch logo on it. And I bought the aluminum at the hardware store. How am I going to bend and shape it? So I took a dowel and I drilled it into a piece of plywood, and I used that peg that was fixed in a sure spot to bend and shape the aluminum, and I used the sweatshirt that he gave me as the outline, so that I could make a 2-inch cookie cutter in the shape of the Maltese cross. I was proud of myself. When this reading came up earlier in the week, I looked at this weekend's readings, and I thought of that. A couple years ago I did that. And what Isaiah is telling us is this is our faith. Our faith should be in our lives, that peg set in a sure spot. And like thin metal that's shaped and molded around it, so our lives should be shaped and molded by that peg, that pillar, Jesus Christ. Fixed surely in our lives. Practically, in the everyday of our living, is our faith in Christ the center around which we build our lives. Like that tin that was made into a cookie cutter, does Christ in our everyday life stand firm for us to be worked around and molded more and more in His image, to be the people that we're called to be, the people that we're created to be. And if you think about that this week in your prayer life, then ask yourself, as a person of faith, how are you a fixed peg, helping others as they mold and shape their lives to be good people? When I look, let's just say, let's start with the seminary only, not go back too far. There was a Jesuit priest, Father George Krieger. He's since passed away. He was a homiletics professor, and he became my spiritual director. A very powerful person in my life to help me understand more and more who I am and what I'm like, so that I can use those gifts and talents, please God, in my priesthood. When I was ordained, there was a priest in the Albany diocese, Father Adams. He was a teacher at St. Rose for a long time, and then he became the parish priest in Mohawk. When Father George died, Father Adams became my spiritual director. Another strong role model that I could use as a sounding board, a fixture of faith to help me as I slowly matured into my priesthood. What about you? As parents, as grandparents, as a brother or sister, maybe just a neighbor or a friend. You're a man, you're a woman of faith. And if Christ is that peg around which you mold your life, then you bring that strength and that confidence into the lives of others so that you can be for them a person who is confident in the love of Jesus Christ and can help them as they mature and grow.